Good morning, everyone. Before I start, I just want to put out a message for Ken Clark. You are my favorite YouTube reactor. So when I woke up like 8ish o'clock, I saw a message. Like I woke up and go on YouTube, I saw the message that Ken Clark made on his YouTube, and I just want to say I do pray for your mother's recovery because honestly, it really got me. I really want all the darkness that you have just disappear and just hope that your mother can just wake up and hug you. With that said, let's get into the recap. Honestly, after seeing the message for Ken Clark, this was not what I wanted to see. The fact that I'm seeing that Jin is actually mourning his mother, I'm like, no, I don't want to see this part. You're telling me there's a future where they crashed and his mother died? Hell no. So the friends are outside are talking about Jin and how they feel sad that Jin's mother is dead, and the fact that graduation is literally around the corner and his mother is not gonna be there for him. On the other hand though, the father is there, but we all know that Jin and his father don't get along. So how far is this graduation? Let me know so we can know when we can prepare for this death because so it's the next morning and Jerome went to check on Jin, but he calls and Jin won't answer, so that alone got him worried to go inside. Now my friend, I'm assuming he has an extra key to get into this house because who leaves their house open that I don't know. Anyways, he got in, he knocks on Jin's door, but Jin didn't answer, so when he went there, Jin isn't in the room, hell, he's not in the house itself. Then he saw a note saying that he's going somewhere and no one should be worried about him. All of this is happening and I'm wondering, where's the father? You're telling me, I get it, the father and Jin Jin don't like his father, I get the reason, but you're telling me the father didn't even try to stay with Jin? What kind of father are you, sir? Then the scene shift and we saw Jerome and Jin in the hospital. Jerome sees Jin and hugs Jin. Remember, Jerome went into an accident and he is in the hospital. Now, why is he hugging Jin is because what we talked about, the whole thing about Jin's mother dying and Jin leaving, was all a dream, or in Jerome's case, it was a prediction. Not sure how far in the future he's predicting that one, but he's predicting it. But while Jerome is hugging Jin, he didn't realize that his mother, the both mothers are there. So that's when he started to soften up and act like it's nothing. Okay, so before I get into it, I need you to realize something that I want to point out. So Jin's mother, if you notice, she's wearing the same outfit that she had on when she was talking to Jerome about Jerome talking to the mother, saying the mother needs to talk to Jin about the father. Yeah, she's wearing the same outfit, which means the accident happened the same day, which means they brought this boy to the hospital the same day and he woke up the same day. I mean, we need to understand Jerome went to Jin's mother early in the morning, so this is probably in the evening. With that said, let's continue. The mother of Jerome is telling Jerome that she is literally going to find out what's happening. The father went to the police station to report the accident, and Jin's mother says she's looking at the surveillance. Okay, so after their mothers left, Jin went back inside because he walked the mothers out and went back inside to look at Jerome. And Jin is very pissed. Now, let's get to the matter of ants here. Why he's pissed? Yeah, he's into an accident, I get that. But there's a lot of things that Jerome did that he didn't tell Jin. Like, for example, Jerome went to see Jin's mother, and Jin found out by his own mother, considering the accident happened literally near his mother's workplace. Secondly, he skipped school and didn't tell Jin. He told Jin he's going to school, but he didn't go to school. Now he's sitting right there, worried as hell, asking Jerome why he went to visit his mother. Jerome lied about it. He didn't even tell him why, but he just lied, saying he left something and he went back. Even though I know Jerome don't believe that logic, he had to, because right now, what can we say about that? Only that, but Jin noticed that when Jerome woke up, he was having a panic attack, like he had a nightmare. So Jin asked Jerome if he saw any visions in his dreams. Jerome lied again to Jin that he didn't see anything because he can't remember anything about his dream. All he knows that it was a bad dream. That's it. Honestly, didn't we agree to promise to tell each other everything in this relationship? I get that you want to protect him at one point, but at what point are you protecting him? Everything is changing. Everything, the vision, everything you try to, it's like 4 minutes. Each time you mess with something that should happen, your brain hurts you and it just change. Okay, so here comes the two friend Fan and Farm to show their support. One thing I hate about GMM TV is how they're actually letting the twins show little of themselves, and they are a part of the show. I just wish they could put more of my in this one. I get it, he's supportive, but come on, even in Burnout Syndrome, every one of them, they're like, come on, give them a little bit more screen time. So Farm ordered food and he asked Jin to follow him to get it, leaving Van and Jerome alone. So while they collected the food, Farm is talking to Jin outside and telling him that Jerome told him everything about his dream, about the fact that they are in a relationship as well. Now, I am glad that Jerome tells somebody in his friendship that they are in a relationship, but the thing is, as far as I know, Van doesn't know about the relationship unless Farm told him or something or that. But what I don't like is that even though Farm and Jin knows that okay, he can see the future, Farm knows that Jin and Jerome are in a relationship, but he doesn't know anything further, like what's gonna happen in the future, what's gonna happen to Jin, anything like that. He didn't tell him anything other than just being in a relationship, and Jerome is holding up all those information from everyone. One thing I can say that I agree with Farm is that how is it that Jerome can see a lot of people's, well, not a lot of people, he only sees Jin's future, but he can't predict his own, which I think it's like that overall. Overall, you can't really tell unless maybe someone else has the same ability. What would be the shocking to me is if Jin actually has that and he can literally see the future of Jerome, but that's not gonna really happen. If it even happens, that's gonna be a big plot twist. Okay, so after Van and Farm left, we are up to each other now, and Jin is still skeptical because nothing adds up here. You went in an accident, you woke up like scared out of your dream, and you don't remember anything that happened. Jin started asking Jerome again, what exactly happened? Like, how is it that he's seeing this and he's not seeing his own future? Like, didn't he see a different future? Or he's trying to question the fact that if he did something and change everything, because everything that he told him, everything is changing. And Jerome still don't want to admit the stuff that he's seeing to Jin, lying to Jin again, even to the point that he's telling him about why he went to his mother and lied why he went to his mother. Everything is all a lie. Okay, let's talk about these two, Farm and Van, because let's be honest, their relationship is more complicated than Jin and Jerome. Anyways, they're at the condo and Van sees Farm at the balcony. Turns out homeboy is smoking. And I'm shocked Van is not a smoker. Van is more of a drinker, but not a smoker. Okay, so we're getting to learn a lot of things about Farm through Van. For example, Farm grew up in a rich household. He's a rich kid, but Van asks why is it that he never goes home. Farm said that his home is not a welcoming place, which means if they're going to be in this relationship for long term, it's not going to be a place where Farm wants to bring him. I don't know what's going on in his household, but it's definitely not giving what it should be giving. Another thing that Van mentioned is that Farm has social media, but he never posts anything. I feel like Farm social media wasn't anything for posting, but actually to check up on Van. Remember, Farm likes Van. So, of course, he's going to check up and stalk Van for a little bit. But anyway, since Van said that Farm doesn't post anything, he decided that he want to post something by taking Van's hand and like show that taking a picture like he's holding his hand, just indicating that, hey, I'm in a relationship. But the way how Van took, like, snatched his hand back makes me realize that Van is really not ready to be in a relationship. He questions everything that I want to question about Van. Also, there is a mark on Van's hand, and all throughout that, we get to know that Van is allergic to smoke, like cigarettes. Meanwhile, at the hospital, this Nalak boy is whining because he doesn't want to be in the hospital room by himself, even though he told his mother that he's a big boy and he can stay in the hospital by himself. But because Jin is about to leave him alone, he's whining, saying he doesn't want Jin to leave him. But Jin is like, I don't have extra clothes to wear. So Jerome begged him to come and stay with him. So what he did was he told Jerome that he's going to take a shower at home, come back in an hour. While he's leaving, though, while he's about to leave, Jerome asked him to pick up something for him. Okay, back to these two. So Van is explaining to Farm about his allergy, and Farm is shocked because even though he's around Van all the time, he didn't know about those allergies. So then Farm asked a very important question. Farm said, you go out a lot at bars and drinking and stuff like that. There are people smoke. How do they survive? Van said he'd take medication before going. But then here's the stupid thing. You're taking medication but also drinking. Poor Van. He's stupid and dumb. Didn't realize you cannot mix liquor with medication. I'm just shocked that it didn't relapse. Like nothing happened to him while he take the medication. And oh boy, you need some brain reswitching or something. Now, knowing that piece of information, Farm decided to ask Van if there's any more important things that he needs to know. Van then says there's nothing really important that he needs to tell Farm. But what Farm is indicating that they're in a relationship, they're boyfriends. So it's very important that he needs to know little details, even important ones about like Van. But Van failed to understand that everyone knows like the main stuff, the common stuff, but as a boyfriend he needs to know things that nobody else knows so he can know what to do. Like anything happen, he needs to know. So Van is reassuring Farm that he promised that anything that is in his life he's gonna tell him. Okay, back at the hospital, then we see Jin coming back from his bathing and changing of clothes, and the one thing that Jerome asked Jin to collect was the notebook. He also asked Jin to promise never to read it. Then, judging by his reaction and always acting, he didn't read the book. He wanted to know what's in the book, and Jin didn't want to give him the book, so he lied, saying that he confessed in the book and he doesn't want Jin to read it because he will blush and all that stuff. The whole time in this episode, I feel it for Jin because everything is happening around him and no one is telling him anything. His mother slowly dating his father that he doesn't like, and his father already caused problems and mental issues with him. That's why he doesn't like his father. And even though Jerome asked the mother to tell him, she still didn't. And Jerome, you have a lot of information about what's going to happen in the future and you refuse to tell him. This boy is the main character of his own damn story and not even the narrator is going to tell him about what's going to happen. Tell me if that's not sad. Okay, after being discharged from the hospital, the first thing Jerome did was went over to his house and took a book and looked into the book because he's still trying to figure out what is going to happen to the crash. The crash has not happened yet, but in his mind, it's about to happen. Also, he's remembering in the dream that he lied, saying he didn't remember, that in the dream his friends are talking about graduation. Graduation is in 2 years from now, which means the mother of Jin will die 2 years from now. Are you crazy? Now he's trying to calculate, because we're calculating things now, and he's trying to figure something. Okay, so let's try to figure this thing out. We have two main things that's gonna happen. One, the crash, and a note. And all of this happened 2 years from now. So the crash literally happened 2 years from now. And the note that says from Jin saying he's going somewhere to live alone, which means what the question is, what do we do now to prevent what's going to happen in the future 2 years from now? Also, when I see that note, it literally says to me that the reason Jin is leaving is because everyone literally hides all the things that he needs to know from him. I don't blame him if he wants to live alone, because everyone is literally hiding things from him. Might as well he hides the location where he is too. Now we need to know, where would Jin go in the future? Is there like a location that Jerome knows that he would go? Is there anything that the mother would know? Or is there the father would know? Or maybe the father decided to secretly go with him? I don't know. There's got to be one place that Jerome told him, unless Jerome see a little future, and then he would know, because he found the book in secret. Maybe he'll find the location in secret too. Okay, let's talk about Jin. So Jin is at home and he turned on the TV and his mother came. They both saw his father. Apparently his father is at a fundraiser and is something to do with kids. Now when you look at this, you'll probably think that for a man who doesn't really care much about his child, sure be out here acting like a good person to children. Now, Jin doesn't want to see anything about his father, turned off the TV, and the mother thought about what Jerome said about talking about this, so she tried to bring up the conversation, tried to bring the father's name in the conversation, and tried to talk about his side as to why he did what he did and why they're where they are. Jin, on the other hand, refused to hear anything about his father, because in his head, his father abandoned him, and he wants to believe, or he has to believe, that the person who raised him and struggled with him was his mother, and that's the only person that he wants to be with right now. He doesn't want his mother talking about his father. He doesn't want to even let her mention about trying to, talk to his father. He doesn't want anything like that. He just likes the life he lives with his mother. He loves the way it is. He doesn't want to say anything about his father. Let's just acknowledge that it's going to be bad later on, but let's acknowledge that part. Okay, so hear me out here. I'm not actually taking the father's side, because what he did was wrong and sad. But I'm looking at things logically. Now, here's what I think. I think at the time, the father was very famous. He's a very famous celebrity. I don't think he is that much anymore, because he wouldn't have had time right now to actually see the mother, because if he did, then paparazzi would be flocking like crazy and news would spread, and I think Jin would find out. But anyways, at the time, the father was definitely a famous actor, and because you already have a kid before being an actor, the fact that you're going around being a single man and don't have any children, if people ever find out that you have a secret child while you are a celebrity, the amount of hate or there wouldn't be a positive, there will be a hate, especially when you're acting with somebody and they already love you with that person, and then finding out that you have an actual relationship out of everything. Do you know the negativity will rock on this man? I've seen it all done before, and it ain't pretty. But what he did or said to this little boy definitely haunt him till he grows up, and that's why he hates him. How can you look at your child and say, don't call me your father, I'm not a father to you? I still say this is stupid, because I'm just shocked that Jin's mother didn't see the light flashing. Either she's not home, or she's never home, or her room is not on that side. But either way, the reason I'm saying it's stupid is because you guys have each other's number. Why not call or text each other? This is just stupid. Before I get into anything, I always do my recap, you know that, but there are many details in those 4 parts that I didn't put in, because to me it's not as important in the recap. But that's why I watch reaction videos, because there are certain things that I left out that I feel like there's some details in it that I didn't want to put in it. So when I watch the reaction videos, I like, oh, okay. Anyways, let's get into this. So they're both sitting in this room, and Jin is talking about his father and how he doesn't like to talk about his father, indicating that his mother did try to talk to him about it. Jerome was like, you need to give your father a chance, at least hear him out. Jin is like, why are you taking his side? Jerome is like, I'm not taking his side, but for once, at least have someone, like, have 2 parents just like me. How I said that last part was stupid, but anyways, so Jin is saying that Jerome doesn't really understand his struggles, because Jerome has both his parents warm and loving. Now, I don't think, and he said that something about him having only his mother. Now, he's not saying that he hates the fact that he has his mother. He's saying it like because out of all these years, why now that she decided to talk to him about his father? I know she tried at first, but this one looked like persistent. Like, why now? Look, hear me out. For now, let's just enjoy this happy moment because we know there's going to be sadness after this. Let this boy enjoy the happy moment that he has with his mother and his boyfriend. Also, I love that book at the end where it says what if. I haven't read the book, but just the title just say what if makes me know that there is a what if in this whole entire episode or drama. Like what if this turned that way and could have changed that way? What if that, there's a lot of what if in this episode or drama. You know, I loved how Jerome is very brave. He went to an accident and still had the courage to come back to class. But judging by the attendance and the track record of Jerome, yeah, it's best to actually come to class this time. You know, I think Mai would have been perfect to just appear now, but I guess GMMTV doesn't want the twin to show up. Two girls walked up to them and saying that one of their classmate friends are doing a project and she wants one, not all of them, one of them to model for her. Now when they say that, I thought, okay, the only person I know would be excited to do it is Van. And lo and behold, all three of them said no except for Van. But when the girls mentioned the girl name who is Nina, Fan is like, oh, Nina. Nina has my number, so she can call me and ask me herself. Immediately, me along with Farm is like, what the hell? Does he not see me? Farm gave the face of, does he not see me? Like, do I not exist? Am I not the boyfriend? Do you not want to ask me if it's okay for someone who I know who is a female that I kind of attract women, like, it's okay to have my number? At this point, Van is not thinking logically. Like, his brain left immediately. As soon as they left the class, Van said he has to go because Nina texted him saying that she need to measure him for the outfit that she's gonna make for him to model immediately after class. Wow. So Farm offered that he wants to go with him. Van is like, no, it's okay. Then Farm is like, okay, I'm gonna pick you up then. You just tell me when to come. Fan is like, no, I'll probably be late. I'm like, bitch, do you not notice nothing? The only thing that I'm shocked is that Jerome and Jen didn't even pick up anything. I know if Maya was there, trust me, you would pick up everything, read that room, and knew the relationship was right there. Meanwhile, back at the condo, we see Farm still waiting for Van, but Van didn't show up. Van didn't text, Van didn't call, and even though Farm is trying to call Van or text Van, nobody replies. So what does Farm do when he's stressed? He smokes, but he didn't light the cigarette because he remembers that Van is allergic to cigarettes. At this point, we're kind of see that maybe Farm is gonna quit smoking because he does need to quit smoking because I think it's addictive. He is addicted to smoking. But regardless of that, you're telling me this boy stayed up a whole night late and nobody texted him that, hey, I'm not gonna be home tonight. Go to sleep before me. Nobody texted, not even called. This boy is here waiting for, at this point, I'm trying to figure out how did he fall in love with this person? At this point, you must be red flag somewhere that you stalked this boy and liked this boy to the point that you moved and didn't even go back home and stay to the condo near to this boy and even make sure that your room is empty so that one day that man can actually stay here. Clearly, I don't know, but there's some red flags about you, boy. Something. Now back to these two. Anyways, so I don't see why Jin needs to bait Jerome, but anyways, Jin is baiting Jerome, and Jerome is asking when is it okay for them to go public with their relationship. Now, I forgot to mention it, but when they were in the hospital, Jerome sees that they both have bandages and decided to post a picture of them, indicating that, hey, it's a couple thing, but people not gonna guess that. He didn't write that it's a couple thing, right? Okay, so Jerome is asking Jin when is he gonna let people know about them. Jin is like, I mean, everyone kind of knows by that picture. And Jerome is like, not everyone. It means like it's parents, their parents. When are they gonna know? I mean, Jin is like, I don't know if it's too soon, considering they both know that hey, they hate each other, and not all of a sudden they like each other. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the next day, and Farm is pissed. And trust me, I know why he's pissed, and I can't even say Van at this point. Anyways, so Jin and Jerome are like, where is Van? Did he not contact? Where is he? Did he stay over at this person's place or what? Van Farm said that yeah, he didn't come home, so I wouldn't know where he is. I'm like, oh, the attitude in the answers. Then Van showed up, and seeing how exhausted Van is, and they know that Van did not go back home to where Farm is, Jin and Jerome started teasing Van about how he must have stayed over at Nina's place. But Van is like, no, he didn't stay. He took the measurements and he went to stay over at his friend's place because he sees how late it is. The whole teasing got to Farm, and Farm is very upset, and he got up. Van knows he messed up real bad, so of course he's gonna get up and talk to Farm. Again, the old time. Jin and Jerome don't know nothing about their relationship, and I don't blame him. With the shit that Van is doing to Farm, who would tell them that? Who would tell them, oh, I'm in a relationship with this guy, but he constantly tries to break my heart? Okay, so Farm went into the bathroom and Van went following. Now, in the one thing you should have done is check the stall. You didn't do that, but that's besides the point. Van is apologizing to Farm. Clearly, the way he's apologizing so many times, I don't even think he knows what he's apologizing for. Now, all I'm saying is that what you did wrong was you didn't call Farm, your boyfriend, to tell him, hey, I'm at the girl's place. I didn't even stay. I'm calling to tell you I left the girl's place, went to a friend, or at least video call picture to show that you're not at the girl's place. You did none of those things. None of those things. So I don't blame Farm to think what he's thinking. In my opinion, ever since he's been in this relationship, all you do is like hurt him, Van. And this is exactly what Jin and Jerome was telling you not to do. You keep hurting this boy. They told you not to go into the relationship because they know how you are. They know you're a playboy, and you did this. You played this boy hard. Okay, hear me out. Even though Van did apologize, I don't think Farm accepted the apology. He's acknowledging that you apologized, but he didn't accept the apology nor forgave you. Then Farm started asking a good question. I feel like he should have asked question before or during the time when Van decided, hey, would you be my boyfriend? Questions start popping in my head when he asked that, but you didn't ask those questions. Anyways, you started asking, you looked at Van straight in the eyes and asked, do you even really like me? Van paused a little bit and said, yes, I do like. Lies. Because when you asked him to be his boyfriend and he kissed you and literally was happy, you hugged him and you gave a flicker of doubt in your eyes. Everything was like, there's a doubt there. I don't know why. You know what I feel? I feel like the reason you asked this boy to be his boyfriend, because you know everyone is starting to slowly drift away. Your mother and parents are gone. You're alone. I get that. But I'm not blaming you for that. What I'm saying is you see that they're drifting away and you don't want to lose Farm, because Farm is pretty much the only person that's ever close to you and does things that no one else does. And if you feel like if he moves away or go far away and move on and be in a relationship, you'll be all alone. So you decided to ask him to be your boyfriend, to be close to him, because you know this boy likes you. Or maybe you didn't know he likes you. You kind of guessed it. But now that you did this, what point is this if you're even hurting him so many times? That makes no sense. You know what hurts the most is actually being in a relationship by yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're in a relationship, but it feels like you're the only one in this relationship. I just feel like Van needs to like pause off, break up, or not break up, or at least pause off this relationship, find himself before he even needs to go into a relationship. Because hear me out, he's been in a relationship with multiple of girls and it never lasted. Reason being, the whole point of him is unstable. I think at first when I saw, maybe he liked Farm, and he didn't even want to be with Farm because he knows how he is, so he's being with these girls and breaking their heart. But I also thought at first, like, okay, maybe he's just doing this to save himself for when Farm confessed that he has feelings. But looking at it now, his whole entire time, Van himself is not stable. Van himself doesn't, he's not ready for a relationship. That's how I feel. And when Van realizes that, I do hope he realizes soon before he loses Farm, because you're hurting people. You're hurting people, and it's not even a fun thing. And you're doing this, not even realizing how you know it, but you're not realizing it. Okay, we're at these two. So Jane decided to surprise his mother at the shop. But the thing is, it really is a surprise because she is not alone. Let me explain. So when Jin is trying to happily say he just wants to start by collecting some cloth for his projects, he saw a jacket that he recognized that was on the news. His father was wearing it. The mother lied that the father's secretary dropped it off and saying that the father, she never met the father. But it's a lie. She made an indication. So the son started asking questions. Jane said, "How long have you been doing this?" The mother lied and said that she's been doing it 3 times because the father's secretary brings the jacket over, or brings any clothes so she can readjust them. Jin doesn't like to hear that because Jin doesn't like to hear anything about his father. Now, while they're talking, the mother is trying to look elsewhere about some of the location, meaning the father was there the entire time hiding, hearing how his son is talking about him. Dude, I was like, holy shit, the father is there. The father is there. After that, they went up to Jin's dojo, little secret area, because there was a customer coming, right? And Jin was sitting down, and Jerome is trying his best to convince Jin to find a way to talk to his father. Maybe the father wants to discuss something important with him or something. Knowing the future, he's trying his best to calm the situation now before anything escalated, because he already know what's gonna happen. Jin sees this is like he's acting suspicious, but asking what's wrong. Did he see a future about something? What? Jerome still didn't tell him anything and tries to, navigate a way to tell a different story. Anyways, they start talking, and Jin is trying to figure out the project and how he's going to do things, but he has no scissors, so Jerome decided to leave for the scissors. Now, so Jin's purpose was to go and find the scissors for, Jerome's purpose was to go find the scissors for Jin, but luckily Jin wasn't the one that came out, because he would have saw his father and it would have been crazy. Now, Jerome sees this and knows that this is not good. Jin tries to come out and he knows that shit will go down. So Jerome kissed Jin so he doesn't see his father, and pushed him into his little secret area. So while Jerome is kissing Jin, that's cute and all, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that Jerome lied why he's kissing Jin. And also, I do feel it for Jin, because now that I look at it, I see why Jin ran away. I see why he wants to be by himself in the future, because society literally lies to him. His own mother have important secrets that she's literally dating the father right now, and he doesn't know. The mother knows how much Jin hates his father for what he did. She knows, and yet even though she tries to tell him, she still hides it. Okay, another thing, the boyfriend, his own boyfriend lied to him. He's having future dreams that he refused to tell Jin about, and he also knows about Jin's father, and he didn't even tell him that. At this point, what is this love? Like, you literally in this relationship looked at your boyfriend, knows the things that's going on in his life, and you didn't tell him. I see why he ran away in the future, because at this point I would have done the same thing. Everybody around him is lying to him, and he didn't even his own boyfriend. Come on. And then you're talking about Farm literally going to the relationship blind at this point. Both Jin and Farm are literally in the same boat. Their boyfriends are lying to them. One is literally insecure and didn't want to it just seemed like this whole episode has a whole thing going on. Lies, deceptions, a whole bunch of things going on, secrets. I'm telling you, this episode will definitely put you on edge. Definitely put you on edge. And at this point, I'm on Farm and Jin's side because I don't know what the boyfriend's gonna do to make up for it, but they better make up something quick because if Jin finds out, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. And it's Farm, I don't know.